Hi, and welcome to What's Important to You with me, James Dean. On the show, I will be talking to people from all walks of life and asking them the question, what's important to you? Because I believe once we understand what's important, then we can build the life that we truly want to live. I hope you are inspired by the guests that I talk to and answer that question for yourself and build the life that you truly want. You can support the show by clicking on the subscribe button, sharing your favorite episode, or leaving your comments. Thanks for watching. Today's guest started her entrepreneurial journey in 2019 when she founded WebEasy, India's only marketing agency that launches and scales their clients' business through ads tailored to their clients' budget. With a personal touch for each client, she believes in the magic of meaningful conversations that effortlessly transform into conversions. Following this approach at WebEasy, the team crafts powerful brands that speak to the audience, making marketing a breeze. Today, we find out what's important to Manmeet Kaur. Hi, Manmeet. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to chatting to you. You are actually my first recording of 2024, so I'm really looking forward to getting off the new year
Oh,
to a great
that's a
start.
pleasure. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely. So we're going to start off straight off with dive in the first question as always. So Manmeet, what's important to you?
I was waiting for that question. So I think the most important thing for me is learning and progress. If that is something I can't do, I think I can't move forward in life.
Interesting. So where did that? There's so much in that learning and progress. I love that. But where do you think that originally came from then?
I think because whenever you want to go one step ahead in life, you want to be doing better. Let's say I started running my agency, not started running. I did
Yeah.
started running my agency in
Yeah.
2019. So when I started back then, I did not have any mentors. I started just raw, learning from a course from YouTube, and I just started there. Slowly and gradually, I wanted to hold hands of mentors who could teach me, who could, cut my journey in half. And I could only do that when I could learn from people who've been there. And even
Yeah.
today, if I'm at a place, if I want to go 10x of where I am today, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, no matter how it is, I need to hold hands of people who have done it, who are there, rather than me struggling, figuring it out, and scratching
Mm.
my head. So I think that's where it's come from.
Yeah, interesting. And it's interesting actually the fact that you said that you tried at doing it on your own first. And and sort of like that sort of I don't know where that sort of when you tried to do it on your phone first, your own first, was it what was the thought process? Was you thinking, I'll just be able to do this, or I don't need anyone? What was the sort of, oh, I couldn't afford it? What was that sort of initial reason of why you thought you could do it on your own?
I think the most basic reason is going to be finances, is
Mm,
because I had quit my job and started my own business. So at that point, you feel that before investing some money into it, let me just try out. Let me just see if I can do anything. If I get at one step, I'll, hold the hand of the coach at step second. And I feel somewhere or the other that's right as well, because when you do that, you understand how many roadblocks are there. And then when you invest in a mentor, you do that with an open mind. Otherwise, when you go straight in, you start questioning at times, which is not right, because you need to trust the person that you're investing in. So I think it was needed at
mm.
that point when I started.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And that's a really interesting way of putting it actually, because there is it, as you say, like there's that initial sort of financial the financial risk as well
Yes.
when you're going for someone because you might not necessarily know them. And I think there's also an element I would share in some ways. I don't know if you experienced this, was when you're trying to do it yourself, there's almost that little bit of excitement as well, and thinking, oh no, you're finally out of whether like, from a company or being told and stuff. So you kind of think, oh no, try and want to give it a go. But what I like that what you just said there though was by trying it on your own first, you'll actually discover the roadblocks that you need to
Yes.
go past, because you could almost dive straight in with either a mentor or a coach or anyone who could help you, and they could be directing you in a way, but you're not being challenged to get over those roadblocks.
Exactly, exactly. Because when you start investing in a mentor, when you start looking at a coach, just immediately, without trying it on your own, without hitting those roadblocks, you feel, okay, this can be done. This is easy. I'll do it all. I'll take it all. And at times, the mentor that you're investing in, one very important thing that I realized in the last 3 years is that your mentor as well has a kind of a reflection of who you are, because you want to connect with a person who has
Yes.
somewhere the same thought process, somewhere the same body language, some same ideology. So you invest in a mentor and you try to do it all their way. And then you figure out, okay, the problem might be me. The mentor is right, you are right. But the only thing is, maybe it's not the same reflection as you were looking for. So that do it on your own in the beginning kind of shows you the real picture and puts down your
Yeah.
pink glasses.
Yeah, that's a really, really good way of looking at it. So do you mind me asking then, when you did that initially and you went out on your own, what were the sort of roadblocks that were coming up for you?
Okay, so I'll give you an example here. So I did a digital marketing offline institute course, which was more theoretical in nature. I finished that, and now since I've done that, now I wanted to launch my agency. So the first thing that now I have to do is I have to do the website. And because I've quit my job, I wouldn't hire another agency or another freelancer to do the website. I have to do it on my own. So the same website that today I might take 1 week, I took 4 months to do that website, and 4 months of continuous working, figuring out what should be done, how many pages do I want. But if I had someone little bit guidance saying, okay, you don't need 10 pages, begin with 1 page, just do it. That overwhelm, that anxiety, that feeling of, let me do it perfectly, I have to launch it perfectly, wouldn't be there. I would have just done it. Okay, let's do it into 1 week, let the website out, and let's just start. So I think those time blocks, the mindset that I have today wasn't the mindset that I had that time. Those were the kind of roadblocks I faced
Yeah.
when I started all on my own.
Yeah. And it's an interesting one there. You said, excuse me, in a sense of, in some ways, because someone think my immediate thought was there when you say roadblock, it's something blocking you in stopping you. But if
Yeah.
anything, though, and and again, a shared experience with a sense of like, you think of developing your own website, the roadblock in some ways is actually doing too much.
Yes,
You
a
know,
lot
so
of
it's
times.
so the roadblock is the sort of like actually being able to accept, no, this is okay. This is at its first iteration is good
Right.
enough. Get it out. But the roadblock thinking the roadblock is almost thinking, oh, I'm not thinking it's good enough. So the roadblock is actually extending the time on something that actually you didn't need to say. You could have done it in a week, because you did 4 months. And it's so that you said that perfection, I think was the word, or looking for perfection is
Yes.
almost that roadblock, because you're constantly tweaking it, or maybe this shade, or maybe that one, or maybe this needs to be moved there, or I need to tell them more and more and more
Yes,
in.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Today I feel, and I follow this saying, perfectionism is a myth. Just get started. Put out an ugly website, but just get started. Because someone
Yeah.
out there is putting out an ugly website and just getting work and doing it and getting better by
Yes.
practice. So just do it.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's that other thing as well, though, is like you could put, as you say, those 4 months of work into this website and have everything the sort of way you'd love it. It's all singing and dancing and stuff. And the person who visits it is just trying to find, well, how do I get in contact with them? What's all this stuff getting in the way?
Exactly.
So it's one of the things, I don't know if this was part of your learning in that aspect as well, was I think one of the things that really shifted for me when trying to sort of build business and build up my business was the really taking in the perspective of the person you're trying to reach versus what
Absolutely.
you think should be, what you think is a nice website, was like, well, actually, but is that the user's perspective? Yeah.
100%, 100%. Because I think as a part of my learning, I've realized that when you're working, when you're doing business, when you're working with clients, it's not that what you have to offer or how well can you do it or what are your prices. It is about what do they want? What is that, they are looking to do in their business. So a lot of times, the first question that I ask when I speak with clients is, okay, what is your goal with marketing? What is that you want to do? What is that you want to achieve, and how soon do you want to achieve it? Only then I can tell them, okay, this is what I can do for you. When I don't know their goal and I go on, giving them everything, okay, I can do this, but it makes no sense because it doesn't add value. So it's about what's in
Mm,
for them is what is
yeah.
important.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said, so going back to the first thing you said was the whole thing of learning and progress. So because some people I've spoken for, learning is a really important thing for them, but you've coupled it then with the progress. So when you're looking at something new or wanting to learn something new, is there always a kind of a lens where that this is going to add on to what you're trying to do? So is it kind of like a pragmatic maybe approach to learning to give you that next step?
I think, yes, I always look at learning as that this learning is going to support me somewhere. So
Yeah.
when I'm learning something, it could be anything. Maybe a failure gives me a lesson. That's a learning as well.
Yeah.
It's not just about, a good learning. It could be a bad experience as well. And that becomes a
Yes.
lesson for me as to why did I fail? What went wrong? And that becomes a learning. And that learning is going to support me somewhere else. Whenever I'm doing some work tomorrow, or maybe me as a person, me as an individual personality, or for my team. So anything that I look at or I learn, or small habit that I pick up, or if I'm reading a book or someone that I meet, there is something that I would pick up and feel, okay, where can this support me better to make me 1% better tomorrow or today? So I
Yeah.
look at it that way.
I love that because, and I love that I went into that question more because the reason I sort of asked that again a bit more into it because we can get caught up in the idea of learning means I have to sign up for something. I have to sign
Yes,
up to a course, or I have to go back to school, or I have to go to night class, or whatever it is, or an online whatever. Thinking there has to be something official. Do you know what I mean? That
yes.
sort of, which could be beneficial. It's great. Like if those things can be benefit, but then we can get. I don't know if you heard this. There's a similar sort of phrase, but over here, what I've heard before is you can have it. It's like certificate chasing. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you're just, oh, just, okay, I've got now this and that, but it's like, but okay. And you might learn something from, but are you doing it for that experience or for something from it? Or are you just so you can have another cert on the wall or letters after your names that, what do they mean? But what you said there, in a sense of that learning, is trying to find it in all and any opportunities. And I love the fact that one of the first things you said there was like, what about if it's a failure? What if
Yeah.
something goes wrong? I don't know if you have any, again, through these 3 years of anyone's experiences that you think, oh, I got really good learning from there from one of your failures.
I think one of my biggest failures would be, and I keep saying it again and again, is the number one thing that you get into entrepreneurship is chasing money and the freedom of time. And it's exactly the opposite. When I started back in 2019, those are the only two things that I did not get. I thought, okay, I just got married. So a little backstory, I just got married in 2019, December. And now I thought my safe cushion is my husband. He's my financial backup. I don't really have a liability here, so I can jump in and I can take the risk. And I took the risk. Now, as soon as I jumped into entrepreneurship, those were the only two things. Okay, business means profits. It means freedom of time. I can move wherever I want, whatever I want to do. And I jumped into it, realizing that those are the only two things you are not going to find in the first 2 to 3 years.
Love
And
it.
in the beginning, because I was working for a long period of time, my heart, even though there was no problem financially, but my heart would panic saying, okay, I'm getting no money. I'm getting no money. And that was a fault because I didn't keep any money in my own bank account, which could give me a peace of mind saying, okay, the money is there. I had everything, but there was just a panic as a human psychology. And then from there, I realized that, and this is a true story in my business, till the time I was chasing money, I didn't get any. And the moment I stopped chasing money, it started pouring in left, right, center. And of course, the freedom of time is something that I'm still working on. It's been 3.5 years. I'm still looking at a goal where I could work 4 hours a day and then, become a business owner. I'm not yet a business owner. I might be self employed, might be an entrepreneur, but not really a business owner because I still work. I still put in those hours. So I think that was the one biggest failure, that start with the right expectations. You need to grill.
Yeah.
You need to go through the hard time. You need to burn the midnight oil. You need to see failures. You need to, your expectations will be broken when clients don't like your work. You might not get business. And there's so much there. So that
Yeah.
starting with the right expectations is what I thought was my biggest failure. I did not set the
Yeah.
right expectations.
I thank you so much for sharing it because I was the reason I was laughing so much because it was like I was the completely again as like I'm like talking to a mirror sometimes with Chanty now
Oh,
because it's that sort of excuse me, that sort of those two things that you said for people going into the starting your own business or working for yourself is, as you say, freedom of time and the finances. And you say you didn't have either, and it just so it's making me cry because I mean I was exactly the same in sense of that perspective, and it's but it is the truth and the reality, and it's a really important thing to say. And one of the things as well, you know, when you said there, I want to go into a little bit more. You said when you were chasing money, you couldn't find any, and when you
yeah.
stopped chasing, it came in. When you say you stopped chasing it, what changed in your sort of process or way of doing things? What was this? Do you think that was the key thing in that point?
Yeah. So when I said that I stopped chasing money is when I found my cushion. So I was approached by a company and I started working with them as a freelancer. I was still not doing a full-time job, but I was a freelancer and it was a fixed freelancer work. So now I knew that this much amount is going to come in, which is going to give me that peace of mind. Okay, the money is coming in. The amount of money doesn't matter, but the money is coming in, and that is the cushion I had, which I did not build for myself before I left my job. So the cushion came in, and now no longer I felt that, okay, this client must give me this client must
Yes.
give me this. I'll just share a small story here.
Yeah.
So this one time I was speaking to this coach. He was a money mind coach. And I was asking him that, how to make more money using your mindset. So he gave this one example to me that I really liked. He said that when you walk up to a client and you have a bundle full of money in your pocket, you say it with confidence that, this is my charges. If you want to work with me, that's okay, and this is what I bring to the table, and this is my quality. If they agree, that's okay. If they don't agree, you will walk out with confidence. But if you go with empty pocket, you'll be in desperation for them to give you money. If you ask for,
Mm,
let's say, $100, they'll come down to 80. You'll be like, okay, 80. Then they'll negotiate further, and then you'll take any amount that you want because you were looking for money. And I think that's the complete story of my life back
mm.
then, that when you go with an empty pocket looking for money, that desperation kind of comes in, and that's a very bad position to be
Mm. I love that. It's a great example and great. It is though, because it's fantastic because it's, as you say, it's going in with that. And if anything, it's say that the money mindset, but it also ties into the the value of yourself in a sense of the mindset, as you
in.
say that
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know that you know the sort of quality and what you bring to that person, that potential client, you know what you'll be able to help them with and get them where they want to go. So as you say, it's like, no, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I, these are my
Yeah.
fees, these are my charges, over to you type thing. And that, so it's
Yeah.
really, that's a really, but I like that. I'm going in with a full pocket, a full of money. I like, it's
Yes.
a really, really simple way of almost reminding yourself when you're going to meet a client, I have a full pocket. I have, I
Yes.
love that. That's brilliant. That's
Thank you
that.
so much.
No, it's
This is where the
fantastic.
learning comes in. I learned it from a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it's brilliant.
Yes.
But it's those sometimes it's those little things that, and because you need them at those moments. Maybe
Yeah.
when you are going to be meeting a client and there's a potential, there could be, whether it's uh, a regular client or a high paying, you know what I mean? It's having that sort of trigger to put you into
Yes.
that right sort of zone. I love it. Really good. So one thing that we haven't got into now, we've been talking kind of around it, is like exactly what is it, your agency and what you do. So tell me more about what it is that you set up and you're working on.
Yes, so I'll give a little bit of backstory before I say that what I
Yeah.
do now, because it has been a continuous learning progress,
Yeah.
through the 3 years. So as soon as I left my job, I'm also a Japanese linguistic. I worked in corporates like IBM. So when I quit my job back then, I quit my job with the thought that I know Japanese and I know digital marketing. That's my edge. Other translators, other interpreters might not know digital marketing right now. So that's my edge, and I can get good business in Japan. So I'll be able to, work in Japan, get business from there, and work here in India. So that was the plan. Me and my husband both are Japanese linguistics. We were supposed to go to Japan, get business from there, and build here in India. But because COVID hit, and Japan as a country is very professional. To earn their trust, you need to be there in person. Miles away, they might not be able to trust a person just over a Zoom call. Until
Yeah.
and unless you have good connections, you need to be there to earn their trust. So that never happened. And I thought that I'll start here in India. Let me build some credibility. Let me build some case studies. And then I'll go back. But then I think the process went so well, then I did not feel like going back. I started with doing my own website, and I'm the kind of person that I'm my own fan. I would shout about it as soon as I do it, anything. So I completed the website. I put it across all social medias to the little number of followers that I had, my friends and family. WhatsApp is used heavily in India, so I put out WhatsApp stories saying that I've done my first website, my business, my baby's launch, and those sorts of
Yeah.
things. So from there, one of the person in my acquaintances saw that they felt I could make really good websites. They gave me a website project. Slowly and gradually, I started getting website projects. So I became a website designer, a WordPress website agency. But very soon I realized the concept of working in the business and out of the business. I was just
Mm.
occupied working for hours and not knowing that where my next client is coming from. And even the payment was split apart because a website could take 2 days, 2 months, and even 2 years, depending upon the complexity of the
Yeah.
project. So very soon I realized that I need a retainer for my peace of mind. If I have a retainer, only then I can function better. So I bought content in social media content. So we started doing social media content for the clients who have knowledge to offer. These could be service providers, consultants, coaches, or anyone who have knowledge to offer as a product. Once I got the content in, slowly and gradually I realized that I have a retainer now, but I don't have a ROI now. I don't have a return on
Yeah.
investment because if a client is paying me something, they want to make money out of what I am doing for them. And simply posting content on social media in the competition that we are today, they might not see the results that they're looking for. So
Yeah.
slowly and gradually, and I also realized that I might do the website, I might do the landing page, but somebody else is getting the leads, and the leads is what makes the entire business grow, or make it or break it. So that's when we got the leads in and started Facebook ads as an additional service. And slowly and gradually, I realized, okay, we have the landing page. Okay, we are getting the leads. We are building the trust through the content. But now the leads are not warmed up, is because the leads are generated, but the client is taking time to follow up with them.
Yeah.
And the lead has so much else to follow. It has, 10 other people warming them up. So we included nurturing and email marketing into it. And this way, now we, provide them a point-to-point service where we can do everything for them, from the content to the landing page to the ads to warming up the lead, and only sales is something that they have to take care of. But this is
Wow.
something that I've built over 3 years. This did not
Yeah.
come immediately.
Yeah. No, it's a really, thank you so much for going through that, because it really does show the full, it's almost then you're doing it from obviously from the digital space and market space, but
Yeah.
effectively it's coupling in a sense what we call the customer journey as well, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
kind of like trying to bring where that, you say one is where would they see it, whether it be social media, where do they go from there? Is it onto, you say, onto a landing page? How do they, as we said earlier about the website, it's like, well, they could see the website, but if they don't know where to connect, contact, book a call,
Yeah.
sign up, put an email address in or whatever, like it's where all these things that could fall down. But as you say, you could only figure that out by doing it and going, oh, that's where they're stopping it. That's where we're
Yeah.
losing it. That's where the fall down is. And then to build it on top. Because if I was to have told you everything you told me to you 3 years ago, you would have gone, I'll go back to work.
Yeah.
Because you would like, I'm not going to be able to do all that. Are you kidding
Absolutely.
me? It has to take
Absolutely.
that time.
Absolutely. Back then, I think when I started my agency, I thought I'll be a digital marketing agency. But very soon, I think 3 months, 6 months into it, I realized, okay, I can't do so much. I can't understand Instagram. I can't understand YouTube altogether. And then I can't understand WordPress and all those things altogether. I need a little bit of space. I need to do the one thing, because
Yes.
niche was a hot topic. It still is.
Yes.
But then I
Yes.
realized, no, sometimes you need to make your client's life as easy as you can, and that means doing everything for them. But that, like you rightly said, that came over time. Back then, if somebody
Yeah.
told me, I would have been like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah, that's it. But it's really, it's that thing where you just said there, though, it's kind of like the one, there's this trying to find this balance between niche and serving the customer who's coming in
Yeah.
front of you, and this sort of like, I think that's always for me as well, in the sense of share from my own experience again, that sort of trying to find that balance of speaking to the one to serve many, but how do you
Yes,
niche, and it's something that I think is constantly sort of refining and going over again to make sure you're connecting with that customer or connecting with that potential customer. But I think sometimes as well, and I don't know if you've experienced this with people you've worked with, is like they've almost got so obsessed with this thing, this one niche. It's like, well, as you say, well, what about everything else? What about us? But so you kind of, it's trying to think, get it right here, but then you can go forward and expand it. And that was what you
yes,
did. Because the other thing you just said there, I think is really important, is you getting good at one thing, knowing it, whether it be Instagram, for example, know Instagram inside out, have it to the point where you can just do it and it's done. Then add
yes,
in YouTube, then add in face,
absolutely,
you know,
100%.
because if you try and do everything at the same time,
It's not going to happen.
yeah,
It's not going to happen.
yeah. And
Absolutely.
and what do you think then? The first question is, what's then been the sort of support, I suppose, from the people, the clients that, how is, or the sort of some of the most gratifying, I suppose, is the question I want to ask from working with the people you've been working with.
I think the most satisfying and the gratifying thing is that the clients trust me and they listen to
Yeah.
me when I have something to offer. They would not just consider me as someone who's doing the work. They consider me as a person of knowledge, a person who can guide them and tell them what is the right thing to do. And I think that is
Mm,
what sets people apart from everyone else and from your competition. There could be
mm,
multiple agencies who are doing the same thing, but at times they might be just being a yes ma'am person to their clients. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, I'll do this. It takes a little bit of confidence to tell the client, okay, no, this is not working for you. And then it is their choice. It's completely their choice because it's their business. But it is your
mm,
job to tell them this is not right and this is what my suggestion is as an expert. But if you want me to, I'll still do it because it's your business. But this is my suggestion. Being the person who can openly tell them this is right for you, this is not. That is what makes client believe, okay, she has the best interest in mind, not
mm.
just doing the work what they're asking to do.
Yeah, that is a really thing, because it's almost, as you say, it's could, by going in that way and trying and sort of really either questioning or challenging your client or the person you're working with, as you say, if they're willing to engage in that way
Yeah.
and really connect with you in that way, that they will actually see the results. Because
Yes.
they might have just, because again, you don't, it depending on how sort of digitally experienced or aware or savvy they
Yeah.
are, they might have just heard, oh no, well, such and such is doing this, so we
Yes.
need this. And you're going, yeah, but that's a completely different business and a completely different client. And
Yeah.
and it's and it's like your business, the image of a business. I think sometimes it's like they might not necessarily need to be on every social media or every type of thing,
Absolutely.
like what's appropriate for the business. They might not necessarily, well, they might say, for example, I'm not, one of the things I haven't done a huge amount and I'm just in and out of is TikTok. And it's one of the things I'm kind of, because I just haven't been on it. So I'm just trying to get myself to know it. But the perception of what it was maybe a few years ago to what it is now, but it's that thing of, well, is the message in the media suitable for the business you're doing? So as opposed to just copying. So from what you're trying to do for those businesses is, at the bottom line, you want them to succeed, because if they succeed, you succeed. So
Absolutely.
directing them in the right way is as opposed to say just, oh yes, I'll do whatever you want. Surely it's
Absolutely.
going to have that impact that you'll get referrals and more business from it.
Yes, absolutely. And that is also going to increase my retention rate because as long as I guide them what to do and I guide them what is to be done, they'll stay with me longer, even if we are not getting the results that we want as soon as possible. The results could come in 3 months, but they'll stick with me because I'm telling them the right thing and guiding them the right thing. And
Yeah.
I think everyone has that kind of, senses built in them where they can sense the other person when they're saying something. Is it coming out of just trying to move you around, pull you around, or sorry, Or
Yeah.
is it a genuine interest, or are they genuinely interested in telling you this is right or wrong? I'd like
Yeah.
to add an example here. Like,
Yeah.
I always share this with people, whoever I talk to. I tell them that choose the social media platform according to your personality. Your lead generation strategy needs to be what you're comfortable with. Let's say that I'm not a camera person. I don't feel like coming on camera and making videos. Instagram and YouTube is not going to do anything to me. I will come there, act like a fool, and not feel confident, and those videos will not work because people can sense it. I rather would go to LinkedIn, pour my heart out in terms of the words where my face is not there. It's just a picture in the profile, and people will be able to get knowledge from there. And the otherwise, I'm not a good writer. I can't express by writing, but I'm very good at video. I can really talk and be confident in front of the camera. Then YouTube is for me. So look at what your personality is. Do you like to do
Mm.
raw, long form videos? Do you like short clips? Because a lot of creators today are mixing creativity with education. I can't do that. I can
Yes.
sit and talk in front of the camera. I don't have that, okay, let's do this and kind of editing. So then Instagram is not for me, because YouTube, maybe information content works, but Instagram wants more entertainment. So look at your personality and then choose your social media type.
Yeah. No, I love that. So really, really, really good example because, and I think because it's that perception as well as like it's, or that idea, we'll go back to the thing of the client is kind of like you could be all over one of those social medias, but if it's not the ideal client base that you're looking for as well, then again, it's that going back to the time of what you're doing. You could be putting out some fantastic content and getting lots of views and lots of likes, but if no one's buying or coming a lead and things like that, it's a great sort of social side of it. But if the goal as well, it comes back to, I suppose this is the other question I suppose I'd like to ask you as well, is there's two things. It's like, how do you sort of work with your clients about what are their goals, in a sense of, is it sort of exposure, is it leads, is it income, return on investments, etc. And then the one that you said earlier is like, how do you give their expectation of time, because it could take a few months for this to sort of like land and build
Yes.
up. So how do you work with clients in those things?
Yes, so I think this largely depends upon my first call with them, when I speak to them in the first initial call, which we usually call as the discovery call. So I would
Mm,
ask them very clearly that what is your goal? What is that you want to achieve? Do you want more eyeballs on your platform, which is,
mm,
awareness ads and engagement ads? Do you want more eyeballs? Do you want more people in your system that is opting in into your lead magnet? Or do you want more conversions? Do you want to make more sales and you want to make more money? So I know the goal from very beginning, that what is that they want to do. And now with the goal should align their investment. If they want to make a certain revenue goal, then do they have the budget for the ads? Which the ads work? And if they don't have the budget for the ads, what is the other strategy that we can pick up? What is that we can do for them? And the second thing that I do is, the first time I work with a client, it's always a 3 month contract, because it would take me around 15 to 20 days to set up everything for you, to look at your social media, to optimize, to put together a landing page, whatever the basic
mm.
hygiene essentials are in the beginning. It would take me 15, 20 days to do that. So if I sign it only for 1 month and the client pays me, they are panicked really quickly, because 20 days they can't see anything happening. Everything is happening on the back end. They have no
Yeah.
updates because it's going on. So they start panicking. So now if I set the right expectation, saying, okay, 3 months, give me 3 months to see the results. If you still don't see the results, then we'll talk in the fourth month and I'll see what best can I do for you. But give me 3 months to set everything for you. And I think setting that right expectation helps me make them calm, even if the results are not coming in.
Yeah, no, and that's the key thing that I think you said there is, um, and this comes to when you're working with anyone or even for yourself again, is that whole thing, as you said earlier, about expectations. So you
Yes.
said it in the previous story when you were talking about yourself when you first set up and your own expectations of going into business may have been slightly off and things like that. But it is that real thing of like, one thing is like the whole thing of goals were still in January, so the whole thing of goals and New Year's and stuff is still going on, and I get it, but goals have to be, as you say, coupled with those expectations,
Yes.
and there has to be some sort of reality in those expectations as well, because it's you know, it's that's the killer of most people's things, because it's like, if they set the expectations so high, then and it doesn't reach it there, and you say 3 months is what I say is it's a good length of time, but it's actually such a short length of time in the world of
Yes,
digital marketing as well. You know, it's like got to have that expectation of like, really, I'm sure with a lot of companies, it's like 12 months, 18 months, even a couple of years before it really starts to with that consistency of level
right.
of marketing. So it's like being able to sort of convince. I mean, do you find you have yourself having to try and really convince people about their expectations? Is that one of the biggest challenges you face?
I don't find challenges in convincing people in their
Mm,
expectations. Sometimes, yes, when they do, share that this is the kind of leads that I would want, this is the kind of revenue I would want, I would have to ask, I think, the right question.
mm,
Asking them, okay, what is the kind of budget you would have? What is the
yep,
kind of, strategy would we would pick up? Would we go organic? If we go organic, this is the time it can take because
yeah,
organic platforms take that much of time. So just asking the right questions helps them understand,
mm,
okay, where this is going. So
yeah,
yeah, at times I would say yes, it takes time to bring them to a point. Okay, this is the goal that we want to achieve, but this
yeah,
is how the strategy will work, and we need to give strategy time.
yeah. Love it. There's one thing I think there is really interesting where you said about asking the right questions. Now
Yeah,
it's a crucial thing in any part. So I mean, massively for me as well, in the sense of from a coaching perspective, asking the right questions. So I'd like to know in a sense of, is that something that you've had to develop over these 3 years about, basically being able to ask better questions?
yes, absolutely. Like I said, I'm a learner and I keep learning. So there are two things that I've picked up is that if you want to, if you want to work with a person, whether personal, whether professional, however you would want it, if you want a certain kind of answer, or if you want to understand what they want, you have to ask the right questions.
Yep.
And I'm not able to. I'm trying to think of an example here. How would I
Yeah.
do it? So if I have to ask a client that what is the kind of investment you would like to make, they would feel as if I'm trying to understand that what would be my payment, what
Yeah.
is the service cost that I would take. But at times, what I've done to this question is I would say that you do understand that we'll be working on this business, and any business needs the kind of investment it would need for it to scale. And I would just want to ask you, what is the kind of budget you've set aside for this business? And I'm only asking this because then I can, suggest you the best strategy that suits your budget. So now they know that when they share that budget, that is for their strategy. And there's this one more thing. I think I
Yeah.
have this book here. Somebody
Yeah. Go for
recommended
it.
me this book. I think if it's visible, it says exactly what to say by
Love it.
Phillips M. So it has, like, for example, if I'm asking someone for a collaboration, so I would ask them, would you be open minded to have a call with me? So anybody would be like to, they would say yes, yes, I'm open minded. So
Yes.
asking the right kind of questions. And one thing with that I've learned is open, clean, positive communication, not using the nots and nos and uh, doesn't, those kind of words, or using positive words with a question which makes the other person respond to you the way you want. So this is something that
Yeah.
I've learned over the time.
Love it. Brilliant. No, no, it's fantastic because it's such an important skill, and it's such an important way of communication, and it's a really um, powerful way of getting to what you want to do with that person. And it can't be underestimated how important asking the right question in the right way
Exactly.
gets you to where you want the client to get to, and resolve it for both. Because I think a lot of times, I don't know if you've, in your reading or learning experience, we've all come across it where when we get the use of language can come across in that quote unquote salesy, and it's
Yes,
just
yes,
you're just
absolutely.
you're just trying to spin someone around, and it's like, you're not trying to do that. You're not trying to confuse them or hoodwink them or trick them. It's not about that. It's that, because we know that sort of what can be done. It's about framing it in a way that, as you say, that's really positive, but is going to get them to their answer, not the answer that I'm looking for. I want them
Exactly,
to give me
exactly.
the answer that's in their head, not the one that they think they need to say or the thing that they think that I want them to hear. What's
Yes,
the
you've got
actual
it so
answer?
correctly.
Yeah.
The best explanation. I'll
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Because and it's one of those things that I've learned myself over the years. It's like, how do I ask a better question? Because I find it quite interesting. When you do ask the better question or the correct question at the right time, should I say, people are much more open. Because I
Yes,
think it's, as well, as one of the things I've learned is people want to share information with you, but it's that element of trust as well.
yes,
And especially when it comes to something like their business and their money, and it's these are important things for people, and if you're
absolutely.
going to, especially from what you're doing, you're going to be taking what you're going to be putting out as a reflection of them and things like that, so that element of trust is huge.
Exactly.
So do you think, by the way you've developed your questioning styles and how you approach people, you're able to develop that rapport and trust easier with your clients?
Absolutely, 1000%. I feel that uh, I'm touch wood. I feel that I've been able to do a good business and I've been still able to run it is because of the fact there's something that I called about CCR, which is a formula that I use, which is content, relationship, and retainer. So I'll just talk about the middle R,
Yeah.
which is relationship. Only when I'm able to build a relationship with my clients, that is when they are able to trust me and have that relationship with me. So it's not just, hey, let's work together and the end of it. It's their birthday, I would wish them. It's New Year, I would thank them for, being there and trusting me. If something good has happened in my life, I would share that update with them. If something is going wrong, I'll ask them, okay, where can I support you? What can I do best for you? So I come with an intention and thought that my work is not limited to something that is in the contract. And I know a lot of people would feel otherwise and say that you need to stick to the timelines and you need to stick to what is promised to have your own mental health and work guidelines and everything. But I also feel that that person is trusting me or that person is working with me because they want to let things off their plate and I have to make it easy to them. If I make it everything, okay, you do this for me, you do this, you have to do this, or you have to give this to me. If I make it a slightly difficult for them, then it's my work is not done well is because they want to make their life easier. And when I say life easier, it could be anything. So if something is going wrong, what can I support you with? Is there anything that I can do that would support you in this situation? Whether it would be doing an extra task or, an extra call or something extra that they would want to do in that particular month, which is not signed for. And I would be open to doing that, and that builds a relationship. And then when I need that kind of comfort and support, they're ready to offer that to me as well.
Yeah.
So even if we part ways, I'm so sorry, you were saying
No,
something.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that even if it doesn't work out, let's say I'm not able to deliver, they trust me with the fact that, she has the intentions. It just didn't work out. They would not question my credibility and my intention that she fooled me around. That doesn't
Yeah.
come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, love it. There's, yeah, so much in that as well. And the two things that says I want to pull out of that is, like, one of the things actually that I when you talked about the whole thing of relationships, and it's come out from doing this podcast with people, and through whatever the last year and a half or so, that for all the people I've talked about, and this whole thing of what's important, relationships is really, it's one that's just screamed out of it. There's a few things that come out, but one of the relationships, and one of the things I've termed it as myself, is positive relationships. So I don't
Yes.
necessarily mean just relationships in a sense of like a personal relationship, like an intimate relationship, like a marriage and stuff like that, or family. It's across the spectrum. So
Yes.
whether it be, your closest relationship with family and things like that, versus to the stranger in the street, to the person you bump into the supermarket, whatever it is. But like this, there is the perfect example of what you gave there, creating that positive relationship with the person you're wanting to work with, because it builds up, as you say, the trust and the element that, even if, and this is what I think you say, is like, even if we didn't get the result that we wanted, it's not blamed about you as a person. It's because something just didn't
Yes.
work, or didn't land the way we
Absolutely.
expected. And then it reminded me what you just said there, of what you, when you gave that bit extra or that bit more to that person, there's a gentleman in Ireland. His name is Jerry Duffy, and he was on my show about this time last year, I think it was. And I've gone to a few of his seminars. He does a lot of to do with public speaking now, but he's done a lot of with goal setting and things like that, works with various companies. And one of the things he always said to me when I spoke to him, when I had a sort of session with him, a mentoring session with him, and one of the things that always stuck with me is like, whenever you're with someone, be unforgettable. Give them everything in that moment, give them the
Yes.
best experience they have. So give everything for that moment. Be unforgettable, because he says he's done that with thing. And then it could be 2 years later and someone says, oh, such and such recommended you. So even from your perspective, you're building those relationships, they're trusting you. You don't know what business may come in 18 months time, 2 years time.
Yes.
They go, no, you have to work with Manmeet because of
Yes.
XYZ.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so it's not to be too cynical about it in the sense of, oh, I'm going to get some potential business. It's doing it in that moment because it's the right thing to do. But the knock-on effect is huge.
Absolutely, 100%. I think I would have to agree where you said that, becoming unforgettable, giving that experience that maybe nobody else would give them, and they remember you, and with the intention of no strings attached, not
Yes.
doing it for the fact that, okay, oh, she's going to give me business, I need to be nice.
No.
That should
No.
be a part of your personality, a part of your intention. And I feel that when you give, then multifold comebacks, but that comebacks without any intention, and that
Yeah.
comebacks in compounding. So that intention
Yeah.
should be that I want to do this because
Yeah.
I want to do it. That's the
100%.
most important thing.
Yeah. No, I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Right. I've got to that point now where I have to ask this. I love to ask this question. Manmeet. I'm so sorry. I'm getting so excited. Right. I love to ask this question to all my guests. I love quotes and phrases. I think they can be really powerful. I think they can be really impactful. So are there any quotes or phrases that you find important?
Okay, there are two. Can I mention two?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, so the first one is be the CEO of your life that your parents always wanted you to marry. Because as a woman, as a female entrepreneur, we are being taught that one day you have to get married, you have to have your family, and you have to take care of certain things. And just the upbringing as a society, your parents might be the most supportive people in the world, but as a society, you're constantly reminded of the fact that you have another responsibility to take care of despite what you would want. So that's a quote. I think if I can show it, it's on my phone all the time. Be the CEO that your parents want you to marry. I think it's not visible.
Yeah,
That's
no, that's
constant
okay.
on my phone so that I'm
Love
always
it.
reminded of this fact. And the other one that I mentioned in the podcast is working in the business versus on the business. Because
Yeah.
until the time I keep working in the business, that is me sitting and executing, doing the work, I'm not a business owner. I need to work on the business, that is brainstorming, looking at new ideas, getting more business, and taking the company to a level where not just me, but my entire team feels that this is where they want to be for the rest of their life.
Yeah, love it. Those are two great quotes. And I love because I think that reminder about working in the business versus on the business is a huge one to keep, because you can catch yourself going, oh Jesus, I've just lost so much time because I'm getting into this. And
Yes.
sometimes it's like, oh, but I really like doing this, and you're going, but that's not really helping you. You may
Yes.
enjoy it, but it's not the thing that's going to get you there. The first one is so powerful because I'm sure it's like a very much a cultural and societal thing from where you are in India,
Yes.
maybe other places. But it really, that's because that's the kind of, is that sort of, and this is coming from a place of ignorance but intrigue. If I ask this question, is like, is that quite a bold sort of way to have a perspective for yourself?
Okay. Would that be that for me to think like this, that be,
Yeah.
the CEO of your life, would that be
Yeah.
bold enough for me? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. So is that a bit outside the norm to think that way? Is that a bit sort of pushing the boundaries of society for yourself a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that because I am not fully aware of how it, works in the rest of the world, but
Mm.
I'm sure it's slightly similar for everyone and every woman who's
Yeah.
hearing our beliefs.
Yes.
because as soon as you get married, it's just like one step. You get married, then you have, to take care of your partner, your family, and then you know it, and then you're a mother, you have to take care of your child, and then your entire world starts surrounding, during,
Mm,
around that. And as a child, especially in India, as a child, as a woman, you are told that you will be get married and you will be taking care of the house, you would be, being a mother. So challenging all those things, saying that my 100% focus is going to be on my career, and then I'll think about all of those things because
mm,
this is what I want to do. So that
mm.
is something that I have done out of the box. As
Yeah.
now it is definitely changing, but back
Yeah.
in the times, I think that is definitely that I'm challenging today.
Yeah. No, 100%, because I'm trying to remember. I think I saw uh, a TV show over here. I can't remember which channel it was, and I think I only saw a piece of it. There was some. I think it was on a one of the British TV channels. Might have been on the BBC, where a lady was kind of a whole thing of women in business. I think, and they should
Yeah,
travel to different parts of the world, and they were in India. And there is, though, a generational of change in sense of women
yeah.
in business, and especially within tech, and especially within sort of the digital space, that there is a sort of a shift there. But I'd say part of it is exciting to be part of that shift as well.
Absolutely, 100%. I think
Yeah,
I'm also doing something now that I've built the agency and still growing it. Now it's time that I can, teach other people what I'm doing. So my next goal is that I'm already working on working with female entrepreneurs who would want to build their own businesses, no matter
that's
how big, no matter how small, but they
yeah,
want to be entrepreneurs. They want to do something of their own, and I can be their guiding light.
hundred
Something that I was
percent.
looking for when I started. So that is the second goal, because as a female entrepreneur, if I can help other women, that's the best thing. That's, I'm sorted for life.
Yeah, no, 100% love it. No, it's just, yeah, fantastic. So I'm
Thank you
just
so much.
smiling for it. No, because I think it's and it's as much as say cultural differences. I think with our own countries, I think there's still massive similarities as well, though, in sense of like from the women obviously that I've spoken to who are doing it in business, whether it be in Ireland, the UK, or across Europe as well, or even in the States as well. There's there's still those similar sort of expectations and barriers and
Yeah,
limitations and things as well, and still to be and still need to be challenged and pushed on. And because the thing is as well that I found when I've spoken to a lot of women in business and entrepreneurs on this podcast, is they're all successful. Do you know what I mean? It's this thing of like, it's whatever success means, if that what you mean, whether it be successful in the sense of their income, was their profile, things like that. So it's to me it's a no-brainer. But I love the fact that you're just putting yourself out there. It's brilliant. The next question I have then for you then is, who has been the biggest influences in your life?
definitely, it's a no-brainer. It's my mom. I think
Love it.
she's been my pillar of strength. Looking at her, just keep going without, stopping. She's been the biggest influencer of my life, and I think the second one would be my husband, because he's the one who's been my backbone, pushing me, supporting me. And a lot of times in the last 3 years, it has happened that I felt like going back to work. I felt as if I want to give up, and I did apply. I did put in my, resume somewhere, but he was the one who pulled me back, saying, no, you don't need to do it, just keep going. So I think those are the two people that have kind of made me where I am. And without them, I don't think I would have been able to come so far.
Yeah, love that, and I think that echoes again then your the points that a lot of the things that have come up through this podcast as well. There was like, you don't need to and you can't do this on your own. Do you know what I mean? Whether,
Absolutely.
you said that the mentors that you spoke about earlier, and then just your mum and your husband, you do need those people around you, whether you say it's giving you a push, whatever it is. No, love it. Brilliant. Manmeet, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. It really has.
Thank you so much.
Um, I have one more question for you before I let you go, though, and that is,
Yes.
what's important for your future?
I think for my future as well, I would say the same answer: learning, progress, keep
Mm,
growing, and at the same time, just sharing with others what you have. Keeping it to myself wouldn't take me so far, but if I keep sharing with others, like this podcast, I've shared so much, and I'm sure there's going to be one person who's going to, learn from this. And that is something that is important to me: sharing with others as to what I know.
Love it. Absolutely. Well, as I say, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. I want to make sure that people continue to support you and find you and connect with you. So we will make sure any of your links are shared on the show notes. But if you want to give a shout out now, where people can find you online.
Yes, I am on LinkedIn and I'm very active. That's Manmeet Kaur. And like, I'll share the LinkedIn link with you. Please come say hi, and I'd love to chat to you, know about you, what you do, and build a relationship.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And to say that link will be in the notes for everyone as well. Once again, thank you so much, Manmeet. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for doing this. I had a lovely time. And thank you for asking the right questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode. I really hope you enjoyed the conversation. To support the show, please subscribe on your favorite platform, share your favorite episode, get involved with your comments, and give the show a rating. If you want to learn more about what I do, you can follow me at James Dean Coaching on Facebook and Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, or check out my website, jamesdeancoaching.com.